pretty excited to be here. Hopefully you guys are as well. With that said, the draft already underway for our first game of BMG versus Complexity. But before we get into that, of course, introduce my co-caster for today. Going to be joined by Shorecon here. How's it going, man?
Hello. It's going pretty good. I'm been busy yesterday and today casting. Gonna be fun. I'm curious though. Complexity, they have not been having the same success as previous cycles, so now they're playing versus BMG, who, have been getting better with the addition of Teltook and everything. So we will see.
Yeah, it definitely has kind of the Teltook edition for BMG has most certainly been noticeable. I mean, there's no doubt in that, and it seems like things, giving them that true jungle option has definitely opened up the doors and the possibilities for this team. So a good team, as you mentioned. Now, I will say about Complexity, they did have a strong start here in Cycle 7 here, and they actually played 3 matches on the Saturday to kick it off. They were 2-1-0 after that, but yeah, since then they're 0-1-1, and obviously slowing it down a bit. So they currently have 8 points, but this is one of 2 more series that they have to play here. So yeah, they could definitely use a 2-0 to feel pretty safe about moving on to the top 4. But
yeah, but I mean, you could argue that Complexity was facing the lower down teams initially.
Oh, they were, yeah.
So I mean, same thing with Pine looking so good, beating LGT and Hex, and they did play versus BMG and Complexity, going 1-1 against them. It's the same story pretty much. Everyone's waiting for the big dogs, ECX and Sync, I'd say.
Yep. No, that's going to be a great match later today, no doubt. I'm definitely looking forward to that one. But obviously, again, a good one that we have here to kick it off. So let's get into this draft here. And as far as what we're looking at, we have the initial bands scrolling up here. Is Hellbringer, Wild Soul, Tempest, Arachna coming out. So how about that? Arachna really has been seen a bit lately. Complexity going as far to ban it here against BMG, a team that actually was, I think you could say, almost really one of the teams that started really using it, especially kind of in that middle role. Boxy's known for playing it a little bit, but yeah, what do you think of that?
Well, I mean, it's just a very strong hero at the moment, and it depends really on what they want to do. Like, you see the Midas pick, you see the Behemoth pick, and you see Parasite. Those are all heroes that are so magic dependent that Arachna just being able to use the Hardened Carapace whenever she wants to, it's a good way of dealing with those magic heavy teams. So, they do give away the Warbeast then, and, Complexity likes it. A lot of teams like it right now. But, I mean, that's just the sacrifice they're making. But Arachna on Boxy, like, I've heard from players that it's impossible to last it versus him. He just out-mechanically lasts it everyone when he plays that hero. So forcing anyone to play against that is utter cancer. But enough about that.
Well, yeah, it is banned.
More bans. Yeah.
More bands to follow, but yeah, overall the picks, Warbeast, Luna, and Bubbles. Of course, on the Legion side, then you got Midas, Behemoth, and Parasite in full on the Hellborn side. I think Complexity, definitely pretty happy with their picks, it's safe to say. I mean, all 3 of those heroes are ones that they're known to play well and often, especially the Behemoth, and especially even Midas in the hands of Fuzzy Sloth. So, looking forward to that, those players playing such heroes, but the band's just finishing up here now. And our final pick's going to be happening. But Oogie, Tundra, Magebane, Sandwraith, Dark Liddy, and Salamon were the bands. So very heavy carry bands here. Other than the Tundra, really.
And yet Dr. Repulsor slips through. But, I mean, we even mentioned that yesterday, that Dr. Repulsor just kind of loses effectiveness because of the change of items. Jade Spire is, of course, a great item on him. And we saw that yesterday as well. But did they lose that game? Did Doctor end up losing? I think so. It was being played by Complexity versus ECX.
No, I think it was ECX, if I'm not mistaken. I thought.
Oh yeah, it was Imboboy. It was Imboboy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he just used it for the 500% mana regen.
Yeah, that was pretty cool to see, because yeah, it definitely made me realize, and I would assume maybe some other people out there, that it is more than just the similar rage for a magic damage dealer. It's that 500% mana regen, as we saw him using it yesterday, was pretty interesting. But Andromeda and Pebbles here happening pretty quickly.
This is a pretty greedy team. Holy crap. This is a really greedy team
that
they have right now. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense because they have the Warbeast to pull for Bubbles, so you can actually have Bubbles suicide. And then, Boxy on the Doctor? No, I was wondering like what's going on here. No, but I mean they could even choose to really secure farm on the pebbles and have him short lane, which I would actually like to see because they need to defend their short lane and their woods. So the best way to do that is to have a strong dual lane. And I'm not saying Doctor Repulsor isn't strong, but he's just not got the same burst and presence as a pebbles, I'd say.
Yeah. Huh. Well, yeah, BMG is going to have to make it work here as Silhouette is going to be the final pick coming out for Complexity. And I mean, you look at that Complexity lineup, it really is a 4-1 lineup to perfection. You got the 4 roam-heavy, gank-heavy heroes, and then the one that will kind of take over the game if you give him enough time for certain. So I'm looking at these 2 lineups right here. I mean, honestly, both are pretty damn strong in the end, now that I'm really looking at those. So.
Behemoth, Midas, and Parasite.
Yeah.
That's really what's speaking to me right now.
Yeah, that's a strong start for sure.
My Midas is better than Fuzzy's. I save it for lands.
That's secret strat, so you got to make the land first.
Yeah.
Haha.
Haha.
Got you. Yeah, so we are getting to that point again. Here we are in cycle number 7, and that's something we really haven't talked too much about here with only 2 more cycles to go. Speaking of that, the standings and how they're looking. I mean, right now, Complexity is in first place, actually, but only by 500 points. They have 13,850 points. Sync has 13,350 points. So, and then the third place is Evil Corporation with 10,650. So, yeah, those top 2 teams are really kind of competing, and I think Evil Corporation is technically still in it, but they would need to basically, win these last 2 cycles to actually take over that first place spot. So, yeah, it is going to be an interesting finish here. And again, that number 1 spot does get that automatic invite once again to the finals.
I had heard. What about BMG? I mean, they were the world champions last year. Does that mean that they get an automatic spot as well? No.
That doesn't work.
No. They're gonna have to.
That's only for like
it.
dream hacks or things like that. But no, this is like you can think of it as essentially like this is a regular season that then leads into the playoffs and eventually the championship match. So whatever you did last year, just because you won it last year, like win the Super Bowl the year before, it's not like you automatically get an invite back. So.
Okay, not everyone's American, but
you get the point. A championship.
I get
match.
the point. Yeah.
So
Super Bowl,
that's how it works.
Football, which is actually
true football.
handball.
Hand egg, as they call it over in Europe.
Hand egg. Yeah.
Okay, so about this laning phase, though, we got looks like nothing too crazy. You got the Pebbles of Luna mid. It's gonna end up there against the Fuzzy Sloth Midas, as mentioned.
And is Andrew going to be able to kill the dog? Oh, that was a misplay from Teltuk. It did delay the creeps, but it's not going to be enough. Now Bubbles is not going to get lane control. And versus an Andromeda and a Silhouette, I don't think he's going to have the greatest time.
Oh, so, yeah, you're saying for the... So what did Teltuk do then?
He messed up with the dog. He sent it back, so it died from creeps.
Okay. Got you. Oh, for some reason I thought that was Teltuk was Parasite, but no, I'm like trying to sit here thinking like, what did he do wrong? But no, that makes more sense as the War Beast. Bubbles is going to be heavily boxed out as you see right there, so that's what you're getting at. Silhouette was tanking the creep wave, of course, keeping it out of tower range. So yeah, this lane control very dominant off the bat.
Well, about that, the Archer actually managed to die from Complexity, so the pull might have been semi-successful.
Okay.
I mean, look at this right now. Yeah, it looks like the lane control is in BMJ's favor, but Matke might actually be in some trouble.
He's going to have to shell surf away as Andrew obviously running in had that common stun, but not going to use it just to be disjointed, of course. So.
And in the mid lane, they're trying to shut down Fuzzy Sloth as well with Aluna. And Aluna is probably one of the best heroes to do it with, because at the start you can just spam that power throw for quite a bit of damage. Of course, Midas already has 720 max HP, which is completely normal.
It's pretty strong, I think is what you're getting
at
there. Yeah, Aluna kind of, man, she just really came onto the scene strong. And I guess she did get that Emerald Lightning buff, with her stuff, more targets. So, I mean, I guess that kind of makes sense. That was really an attractive thing that really got all these support players to realize, that's really strong. So that pretty much did it, I guess I would think. And she's always kind of been a strong laner, right? She's always been a strong in that babysit role, but that just really did it.
But now, in team fights, the 5-second stuns on, 3 people Well, it's still kind of funky to me how it works, because on that last target you do see the 5-second stun. I'm not sure if it's like that for multiple targets, but it definitely feels that way. You can just stun an entire team so often. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. It's definitely see some impressive stuff, and yeah, it is fun kind of seeing them hit with the creeps and then trying to line it up, and sure enough, when it happens,
Yes.
pretty epic feeling, I'm sure, as that Aluna.
It's fun. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It makes the support a lot more fun to play, because you're like, okay, I'm gonna now use these skill shots to get a great stun off on like a very important target, or like you're coming from the fog and then you first stun the first 4 creeps and then it bounces to the last guy and then you stun for 5 seconds and you're like, yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, not that every support's, kind of mindless by any means, but yeah, no, it definitely is up there. It kind of gives you that thrill, that mini-game aspect.
It's like you need to be more mechanically skilled for a Luna than, let's say, a Rhapsody, for example.
Yeah.
I mean, with a Rhapsody, you have the effect of making interrupting stuns. Like when you're playing versus a behemoth, you can interrupt him mid-cast constantly. That is one of those points, but you get what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah,
you understand what I'm trying to get at.
Absolutely. So, point is, Aluna, pretty good support hero, and we've definitely noticed that. I think it's safe to say one of the top 3 supports right now in the competitive scene. So, you see at the bottom lane, Bubbles coming over. How about this? He's realized. I mean, he got a little bit of lane control, but then eventually, lost it again, and so he's figured, might as well try to be useful elsewhere. But Behemoth is moving. However, it's a 4-minute rune. It's going to be a refreshment. He'll actually just bottle it up right there. Top rune protected by Andromeda, which happened to be Invis.
Yeah, I didn't even see that it was Invis. The hero just doesn't look invisible because there's all the shiny stuff surrounding it. And here's another Invis hero. Parasite coming over. Is this going to be a kill?
Stealth Hunter.
They do have level 4.
Open. In comes the combo from Midas, and that's an easy kill on a Boxy right there. Yeah, you can't blame him. I mean, there was no vision at this top rune or anything like that, so they just simply had no clue that Andromeda was there.
And Make is just down at bottom for no reason in the end. But, I mean, you can't do anything at that point. Fuzzy Sloth level 4 on Midas, and then you have a Behemoth rotating over as well. He went for the Striders and Bottles. So, he is in a 1v1 situation with the Doctor, but that's just a situation where you just have to try and make the best of it. You're not supposed to win that. So what he's doing is just absolutely fine.
Yeah. It's, you look at the creep farm, actually, and right now BMG is very good. In fact, Boxy, even with that death, I mean, he comes right back in, and he's back to last hitting like a boss, 34 and 12 right here. He's farming 340 coal per minute, so, again, even though he died right there, it's not the end of the world for him. It just kind of perhaps boosted Midas a little bit, and maybe the Parasite even, of course, but... I think Pebbles is still feeling just fine, and as I say that, they are setting up once again.
They really want to prevent that snowballing Pebbles, because that's what the Hellborn side has to be scared of right now. Later on, it's going to be the Warbeast, of course, but I mean, right now he's level 6, decent timing. He's going to go farm Ancients.
Well, that's Aluna right here. Actually, is going to be picked off. Speaking of Ancients, trying to escape right there, but Andromeda just barely caught him with the Common Stun and got the kill. But as you're talking about Teltuk, yeah, he goes to the Hellborn Ancients and he takes a couple of them. Maybe
and he stacked it for them as well.
And he stacked it.
Oh, man.
He did. That's hilarious. And totally a mistake on his part.
Totally. He was just going for the rune and was like, oh, well, crap. But nice pressure coming out from Complexity. Like, I already get the feeling that they're playing different from yesterday. Like, they're realizing that they need to correctly plan out their games and then follow through with it as well.
Yeah, I mean, it is interesting because obviously we also did mention how ECX at the same time is looking very good. They are currently still undefeated, 3-0-0 record here, and BMG comes into this 0-1-0. So, still little matches played after that break. Pebbles of middle lane again. No chance right there once again. You see 4 players essentially setting up the gank. Dr. Pulsar coming in, but at what cost here? Doctor's actually in trouble. He's going to take a transmute. And Baltazar, yeah, you really got to question that. He was still in the creep, was Parasite. So I don't know what the game plan was there for him. But it clearly was not that.
Yeah, that felt just way too YOLO. If anything, Parasite, you always have to assume that he's full HP inside that creep. Because honestly, when he jumps out of it, 9 out of 10 times he is full HP. So you really can't rely on jumping a Minotaur who if you even stun him, he just jumps out of anyways and just turns it on you. A little bit too eager, I think.
Yeah, that really did seem like it's almost like that. I mean, the mentality we talk about sometimes when somebody has a haste rune, they feel like they're unkillable and they can just make some silly plays like that. But yeah, Balthazar, he's like, I got this ludicrous speed.
Wow.
Oh yeah, Bubbles caught.
He put a rev ward down and countered the lane ward from Love, which was fantastic, of course, but the burst from Silhouette with Andro, the negative armor, and then the Death Lotus, 300 magic damage. Like, it's a level 4 Bubbles. He's got 600 HP. He went from full to 0 in no time at all. He even tried to shell surf away, but it was just too late already.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this lead all of a sudden for Complexity is pretty absurd. Only 8 minutes into the game, 4,400 gold lead, 3,100 experience lead. That is a very good lead for this point. And, you know, I was actually just going to tell Teltic again, he went over to the Ancients, and I think he killed, like, one of the Ancients, and then he ran away. I mean, he got the double damage rune there, so he was kind of doing it for rune control, I guess. But it is kind of amusing that, you know, he's only been able to get a couple out of that, I guess. But, you know, it's not bad by him. I guess it's more so that Complexity hasn't even taken that yet, and they still will be able to. Essentially, what is a triple stack Ancient set still, so.
And now Legion's deciding to push with the Abyssal on the Warbeast, but they're not pushing it too hard. They realize that mid is moving over. So, good discipline from them, but at the same time, they need to make some plays. They need to create space for themselves. So, if anything, they need to secure Boxy's PK. Because Celtic and Warbeast and Doctor is a fantastic combo, of course, but you have to realize that you can't push with those two heroes right now versus a Midas, a Parasite, and a Behemoth and expect it to be successful.
Yeah.
Unless they don't move anyone over, of course, then it's completely possible.
And there's a free tower kill in the end for BMG, so closing that gap a little bit, but yeah, keeping an eye on Pebbles and how important that portal key is. He's about 1,000 gold away now. Of course, 2250 now, and you know that really has been an interesting change in that I don't know if it's been noticeable at all. I mean, it was only 100 gold, so it really wasn't like, you know, it's not like that crazy. But as a player, I mean, do you really feel it, like the 100 gold increase on portal key, or no?
I think it's just slightly more annoying because you're so used to the 2150 that you have to like do new calculations in your head every time. You're like, oh no, I need 700 gold instead of 600 gold. And to be honest, I still don't think it's enough. If they're trying to push the meta with the recent changes, buffing scrap a bit, making deadlift a better pusher, being able to rest 2 people, all of that, it says to me that they want to make this game more about pushing, more about let's get the objectives and, you know, have action that way, because it was too much about, okay, we're going to farm that PK and then we're going to team fight. That's what it felt like. And so my issue is,
by the way, Warbeast. Yeah, is this transmute going to hit? No, it's not. Great juke there by Teltic to avoid it if he got hit by that 100% dead. So he does avoid what looked to be certain death on him. As top lane. Uh-oh. Bubbles. He's in trouble. There we go. Fissure, easy transmute. Oh, maybe not. No. Take cover, actually. Wow. And he's going to be able to shell surf and port out? Yes, he gets away.
Wow. So what Make is playing, the all chat immediately, but not even close. But that's the problem when you don't max Fissure on Behemoth. He's going for the heavyweight build, which is great for when you get your PK, but the stun duration is not long enough right now. It's 1.25 seconds instead of the full 1.75.
Yeah, that half a second definitely made the difference, right? Because he would have been hit by the transmute, no doubt, if it was just a half a second longer, so. Good point.
But for later on, it's far better. So I understand why.
Trade off there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Oscar,
but what I was saying with the whole changing it into the push lineup, if they really want to do that, Warbeast is dead.
Yeah.
His metamorphosis wasn't even on from last time he got jumped at the Ancients. It was still on cooldown.
That quick. This is an aggressive team. I mean, we knew this going into it, and they're showing it. So. But yeah, so about the mid and the push here, and here's like the Filer even kind of getting some buffs.
Some Staff of the Master changes, which are cool.
Yeah.
What I really want to see, if you really want to force PK heroes to fall more into the background, that it's really an investment to get a portal key, increase the cost of a portal key to 2,400 gold or 2,500 gold, something like that, because then it really deters people from going Suicide Behemoth.
Yeah.
Even in TMM.
I would be curious to kind of hear the logic of that and the idea, because as you're saying, I don't know if that's I don't know like if that was the intention or if they just felt like because it's like an every game item, it needed to be nerfed at least a little bit. But yeah, I mean that would make sense as to what you're saying, you know, with this idea that perhaps they are trying to make the shift happen. And that is definitely some good advice. But top lane, though, Bubbles again. No, he's going to be fine here. Warbeast is up here as well. So it's kind of a 2v2. They're going back and forth. Meanwhile, Ancients are being cleared finally here by Silhouette. So these have been stacked for a while, as we've noticed. But here at about 13 minutes now, the Complexity team going to make their way over. The Nullstone finish on Silhouette, and he seems like that's a pretty good time to do this here. So. Dr. Repulsor is farming very well, though. In fact, he's going to Nullstone himself. We didn't really talk about this yet.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, just prevent the Parasite Silence for at least a little bit longer to give you some time to fly away. And I've been saying there's just not that many items for Dr. Repulsor anymore. Jadespire really does seem like a later on item, but you need something in the meantime that'll allow you to be a little bit tankier and have a bit more mana and allows you to fight. But yeah, like the 100 gold, as you were saying, it's more a nuisance more than anything else. It doesn't deter anyone from buying PK.
No, it doesn't.
So, yeah.
Exactly. No, that's a good point. Yeah, again, I would be curious to kind of get what. I don't know if that was. I mean, I think that was kind of explained in the patch, so maybe looking back at that and see what it says about the portal key change. But yeah, I would be curious again to look back on that. If anything.
You knew it. We knew it. Arachna's precision needed a nerf.
Yeah. That's
hey,
sometimes they're just
patch
blunt.
notes.
I mean, sometimes just like, yeah, this needed a nerf. This is why we're doing this. Yeah. So it's not always about this very specific, or you know, these really complex situations. It's sometimes it's like, yeah, this was obvious. So meanwhile, speaking of portal key, they find that is a real Silhouette. She kind of split up, trying to make an escape right there. Obviously could not. So the lack of vision up here from the Hellborn side definitely showing. As Silhouette gets dove, and that's a huge find for BMG, of course.
Veiled Rod is a powerful thing, though.
It certainly is. Did that really do much there, though? I mean, there was no vision. So.
They used 3 Veiled Rods.
But my point is, there's no wards, though. So, I mean, did that really accomplish?
It wasted their gold.
Okay.
But it's also about the fact that if it's day, you can usually see them. And, like, look at what Balthazar did. He also placed a ward there. So... it also moved them past the creeps. That was also a big thing.
That's fair. Yeah. Yeah, and it was also obviously just in case. As we see, there happen to be no wards there, but very likely could have been something. And you now see there is, well, the Rev ward attempts, but yeah, those are both out of range, aren't they? Definitely. So yeah, he thought he placed it in the usual spot, but Balthazar for some reason won't place it. That's odd. But anyways, he placed it over here as you mentioned. So there's a ward of sight now from Love. Gonna get some vision as a just in case.
What you got is starting to use the puzzle box now, though, to get vision, and wow, that Behemoth PK?
Yeah, that's showing right there, but now they're in trouble. Midas, he's definitely caught the Kefka going out. Behemoth's gonna go for the TP after. He is gonna survive. Midas, though, not the same story. So the double portal key, it pays off right away to get the kill on Pebbles, but cost them one of their lives even.
It was a bit of a misplay, though. Luna used his stun to cancel the Midas when it was already being cancelled by Dr. Repulsor. So if they had communicated it better, they would have been able to stop both. Or at least use the Bubbles ultimate to counter. Because he used it to initiate with, which is fine, of course, but
oh my
now they got away.
Is Warbeast actually okay? He was juking barely here, and then Behemoth is like, no, you're definitely not escaping. So secures the kill right there and prevents him from actually escaping. Well played. Alchemist Bones, by the way, picked up on Make here, playing that bubble. So you mentioned the puzzle box, excuse me, on Parasite is now level 2 even, so
level 3 and about 100 gold. So yeah, he has level 3 in like 10 gold. So I mean, Bubbles is one of the heroes that is perfect for getting rid of the Mauler. And honestly, I think you should just save it. And whenever Parasite is in a creep, bones it, and then bones the Mauler as well, having auto takeover enabled, because then you don't take any of the damage.
Huh. Okay.
What do you mean? Ha.
Well, about the Mauler. So yeah, using the take cover, the auto take cover. That's what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
Is that what
It's a
players?
nice way
Is
of
that what
dealing with
players
it.
usually do? Would you say? Like, is that like a known thing? At this
Yeah, yeah,
level?
yeah,
Yeah. So it's not.
for sure. That's just what you do. It just removes the damage because, I mean, the wizard is annoying to deal with, but I think the Mauler, just because of the fact that he does so much true damage, like Doctor Repulsor can also deal with it by flying over it because he's invulnerable in the flight, so he doesn't take any damage if he kills it in the flight.
Oh, okay.
But let's say you have the Aluna power throwing into the fight, and then he just dies because it's 600 true damage suddenly from the
Yeah.
power throw.
Silhouette's dead. Bubbles
And
doing that.
with Warbeast, I'm not sure how that happened, to be honest.
I just caught him with the kelp field, really, and then Warbeast was able to charge in. So the Silhouette just wasn't
Aluna
ready
dead.
for it. Bottom lane, yep. They do take out a Luna, so a little bit of a trade there for complexity, but
Not one in their favor.
no.
And Warbeast is farming decently, but yeah, I'm surprised Doctor managed to recover this well. 420 gold per minute. He's going for a Hellflower next, which I also really like. And oh, Mr. Behemoth.
Kind of these pickoffs here and there happening. I mean, both teams, and speaking of it, there's another one. So it's like we're running a sequence here. In fact, now Warbeast, he's kind of interacting with Parasite, going to keep him at bay and eventually get him to run away here unless Doctor chases him down, which he does. He's in that wizard, though. Tanky, not tanky enough, though. Now Pebbles follows it up. Is this an escape for Parasite? He dodges to Lagmites. There's a swap from Andromeda. Now here's a turn in favor of the Hellborn team. Pebbles now in a lot of trouble. And he goes down right here. This is just crazy how it's just one pickoff after the other.
Back and forth. But what was that? Stalagmites.
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
Yeah. That was interesting.
To be fair, it's definitely a little bit of credit to what you got as well.
Yeah.
And I think
just making it more difficult than it should be.
Yeah, that's probably one of those too. If you're Boxy, I could see it. U.S. East.
Oh yeah,
so.
for sure. EU teams would beat complexity all the time on LAN for sure. That's what everybody's saying.
Not to put words in their mouths, but it's been said before.
And then it's like, oh yeah, well Oscar always plays every game with 300 ping, and then at LAN he'll wreck all of you.
Yeah.
And I remember at DreamHack he had to get used to there not being any lag.
Isn't that weird? Yeah, Slicks was the same way, for the longest time.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's the other player from Australia and had to deal with all the 300+ ping always. And yeah, it's like that's such weird logic. It's like I have to get used to playing on good ping. Dr. Repulsor, oh my gosh, one auto attack. He is not going to get away, though. Almost just enough, but not enough in the end. And Aluna also gets picked off on the side. Yeah, I got to say, I'm looking up at the scoreboard now, and I would not have thought it was like this. It felt like this was actually kind of back and forth somewhat, but they only have 4 hero kills on BMG's side, and obviously they're down now 7,000 gold and 8,000 experience. So where's this
Those
going
4
so
hero
wrong?
kills, though, they've been pretty good, pretty effective, because they've been 2 on Silhouette, and I think that's where we think that they're able to get kind of a turn on them. But ultimately, Midas is almost 400 GPM. You have the Parasite at 430 GPM. He's got level 3 puzzle box as well as an Abyssal already soon. So although Silhouette is kind of being shut down, they're also trading towers in a way. You'd think that with the Bubbles and the Warbeast, they have a really good split pushing team, but at the same time, Parasite has that power as well. Midas has that power as well. Silhouette even. So even though Silhouette has been slightly shut down because of those towers, he's still got great GPM.
Yeah. And actually,
oh, what a stun.
Yeah, nice kill right there on the Bubbles. The stun just a little bit too late to prevent the kill onto him. Does allow him to get away, though. But Warbeast actually kind of walks into them, and Metamorphosis is still well on cooldown. So there's no chance for him to get away. So it'll just continue now in favor of complexity. I mean, sure, they get the tower kill, but losing 2 lives like that, not good at all. So it's just a pain train coming out for complexity, it feels like. And yeah, especially with that Silhouette farming as well as she is, 480 gold per minute, the highest in the game. Interesting, too, here, by the way. She goes to Firebrand. If this was pre-3.8 patch, it would be, well, typical, of course. But a lot of these Silhouettes have been going to Shieldbreaker. after
To
the
be
first
honest,
one.
I've seen people going for Firebrand first because it's still just a great mobility item, and after that, go for the Shield Breaker. Because
Okay.
that way, your illusions also have the extra agility, and you're able to just move around the map faster, get more farm. That's why often you see a Mage Bane, you see them go Rundax, and then they go for Firebrand straight after, just so that they have the extra mobility.
And then eventually
It's
you can build it into Geos.
yeah, like remember what Imboboy said? Firebrand is the best item in the game.
Did he mention that? Okay.
He said that every single agility carry should pick up a Firebrand just because of the mobility.
Yeah. Oh. Wow.
What a swap.
Yeah. That was in time right there. You saw Pebbles trying to go in with that chuck, of course.
He was right inside the creep wave, so that's really well played from Formless.
Yeah.
Really, because if you're playing as the Pebbles, you're gonna get tossed first, if anything. That's why Boxy tossed first, because he's like, the only way we're going to get this kill is if I instantly disable him, and then the stalagmites hits afterwards. But with the toss missing, it was difficult kill.
Well, so yeah, Chuck is really interesting when it comes to that Nullstone. It's like you can use it, but it's, as he pointed out, if he's up there next to the creep wave, then it's definitely not going to be guaranteed by any means. So
Yeah.
Kongor.
Unless he's like inside, if he goes Ghost Marches and PK's inside of Silhouette and then chucks him himself.
Like right on top, yeah.
Oh, is he going to be able to kill the token? Oh my god, I think so.
No, not in time.
No.
Silhouette was way
Where did
too
it
quick.
drop? Where did it drop?
It dropped a little bit further out, yeah. It didn't seem like it dropped like right on top of him, so.
That was super weird. I'm so confused how these carry players pick it up instant.
They play a lot of Diablo, I'm sure.
Oh god, Diablo. Oh man, Diablo 2. Oh man, the memories. Everybody, spam the loot.
Yeah, good times.
In Diablo 3, they made it slightly less annoying by just having everybody have their own loot.
Yes, they did. They changed that a little bit, but those were the good
What is
days.
Oscar doing?
Not sure what the purpose of that was, yeah. It almost looked like there's a little bit of trolling going on, I'm not going to lie, because they were like, I don't know. It seemed like maybe there's a little bit of that, but...
Well, they know Doctor's dead, so they don't have the instant response. They don't know whether he has a buyback or not, but you'd think that because he's not buying back just yet, that he's not got a buyback.
Oscar just portal keyed there, too, for, like, no reason, so I don't know what's going on here, but...
Oscar's having a bit of fun.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that, so enjoying life here.
What? Playing a video game? Having fun? What are these things?
I know. Have to remind ourselves, that's ultimately what's going on here. It just happens to be for money in this case. So a little bit competitive edge there.
That ward by Love, by the way, I like it a lot. It sees the lane as well as a bit of the woods. Oh, Boxy.
Oh yeah, interaction here. Parasite is going to get caught. Can he maybe infest? No, it's not on the cooldown still. The swap from Andromeda not even going to be close to saving. He goes down. Andromeda and Midas are both in a lot of trouble now. Elemental Warp away with barely any life. One auto attack. And there it is. Double tap for Boxy. Andromeda actually manages to escape, actually. So I thought for sure she was dead, but at least she gets away. So I got to say, the BMG is closing the gold gap a little bit.
Yeah, as you said, it feels kind of like they're trolling a bit, and that was so much of a troll. Like, Silhouette and Behemoth had already moved away to the top and middle lane, and they just decided to stay for whatever reason.
Yeah, a little overconfident perhaps, and obviously the last thing you want to do against a very solid team is in BMG.
Yeah.
Is that, so.
So, Parasite, should he finish the Demonic, or should he go for something like a Portal Key? I'm thinking the Portal Key versus Dr. Repulsor, so you can just focus him down. And with the Alchemist Bones, you want to be able to get away without insta-dying.
Oh, true. So if you see that coming in, yeah.
Yeah.
React to it. Yeah, I mean, I like that idea, too, because, again, a lot of this team screams. Silhouette's one of those carriers. She kind of she wins the game on her own, almost. She's that split pusher constantly, kind of doing her solo thing. So the Demonic Breastplate, I'm not saying it's not going to be useful there. Eventually they're going to be grouping up. They kind of have already to an extent, but... Yeah, I think you lose a little bit of value, as say if this was instead something like, a more team pusher, I guess. That's the carry. I'm trying to think of one off the top of my head and blanking, but
well, like Dark Lady.
Like a Dark Lady, sure.
Also split pushes, or no, Sandraith rather.
Yeah.
We forgot the most obvious one, the one that always team fights everything. But then again, Sandraith 1v5s apparently.
He is pretty good for that. So, yeah, I mean, I guess all those other hard carries, to an extent, they do split push as well, like Mage Bane and things like that. But, I mean, Silhouette's arguably the best at it, for sure. Like, she will. That's like her priority.
Yeah, but I mean,
Almost
she's
over
kind of
others.
lost her effectiveness a little bit as well with all the changes that happened to make her less powerful. Like, I mean, even the movement speed slow from Geometers, for example, is kind of The cooldown increase from swapping to your illusion also doesn't help. And then there's the shield breaker does help, but
Yeah.
that's only been a recent addition. And top lane,
Warby's caught again. He does have Metamorphosis. It just doesn't matter, though.
he also has a
Knock it
shrunken.
off. Yeah, he had and he didn't have any time. I mean, it was just
Yeah.
locked down the whole way through.
This is where I would like to see him use his dogs to get a certain degree of safety for himself, because Midas and Behemoth didn't Veiled Rot or anything. They just simply walked up to him and then PK'd. So
Yeah.
if he's able to see that coming with the dogs, then he'd be safe.
Well, he did not. He gets caught, and now he's dead for another 30 seconds. Does have a buyback, but don't know if it's going to be worth defending a secondary tower here by any means. If they actually go for that token, it's got to be wearing off soon. Yeah, only 20 seconds, so.
By the way, you were saying about how Silhouette is like such a great split pusher. Look at the building damage. It's all Parasite right now.
Oh my god, they're going to go on a Silhouette, by the way. Again, the token's actually only 9 seconds remaining, so that's a very risky initiation, you could argue. However, the pickoff on it, Bubbles is going to succeed in return from Complexity. And now what you got, though, he goes a little too far, but he infests it last second. It doesn't matter, though. He gets taken out immediately and gets killed. Warbeast is up now. Tower dead, though, in favor of the Hellborn team, too. So the one-for-one exchange, they get the tower, and they get on out. I think overall, again, Complexity pretty happy with that exchanging going on there. Yeah, it is interesting you mentioned that. I mean, that's a stat we never really look at often, but yeah, I guess Parasite and Warbeast actually are both better at it. I mean, Warbeast, it's understandable. Parasite, I guess, too, you know, with the catapults.
Yeah. He just does so much damage that every single one of his hits is like 100 HP from a tower. Maybe slightly less, but...
Silhouette did finish the full Geos, by the way. I didn't mention
Yeah.
that yet.
Yeah, it's great versus the bubbles, I'm thinking. I'm not so sure. Like, I get it's just an extra defensive item before he goes all in on the shield breaker. And to a certain extent, I understand it, but at the same time, he should just be taking those towers down, man. With the level 3 shield breaker right now,
Yeah.
he is going to get it next, though. I'm assuming with that Warhammer. Although it could be shrunken.
Could be. They just...
It's just you don't really want to do that when you already have an Andro on your team who can save you, and on top of it all, you have your Silhouette. Like, you don't want to spend that much gold on defensive items because you have that swap.
Yeah. And it's just like the other part of it, too. It's just like Shieldbreaker is just so good as we're getting to. And it's not like a flavor of the month thing either, I don't think. It's like, it's just legitimately that good as far as the level 3 of it, especially, and being able to siege the towers as effectively as you can with it. So it's just so hard to pass up. And yeah, we do see right there he does eventually get it. So with the full Geos first, but now he does have it. At least level 1. We'll need to get that level 3 for its full capabilities here.
Wow. Oh, crap. Okay, Oscar, down
Is
at
he
bottom lane.
gonna die here in the end? He is, but oh my god. Wow.
They had to use that, though. And the swap onto the pebbles, so...
No, but the golden pebbles is real.
the golden pebbles.
Yep. So did Behemoth make a big play, or?
Yeah, it was a huge play. He was using his Enrage, and Bubbles kind of poured it into it, and it looked incredibly funny.
The timing was perfect.
Yeah, but then Boxy came to save the day. Superman Boxy.
Yeah.
Oh, Doctor, though.
It's close right there. Parasite nearly got him. That Nullstone, though, it makes it difficult.
It does feel like Complexity kind of lost their snowballing factor. There's not nearly as many pickoffs anymore.
Yeah.
There's 2,700 gold saved up on Behemoth, though, so it's very possible that they're going to go for another sheep. They've got Tablet and sheep on Midas, so very likely that the Doctor is going to just get his Nullstone taken off immediately by the Tablet and then sheeped right after. It does give him a bit extra time to react, though.
They do got the lockdown ready to go, and we've seen several times throughout this game. There's plenty of it to go around, so. But will he be able to react fast enough for Baltazar? But yeah, I mean, even the stats definitely reflect the idea that this is not nearly as out of hand as it was seeming like, and it definitely was earlier on. I mean, the leads, both the gold and experience, has kind of gone down a little bit as far as the gaps there. And that is showing here. I mean, 3,900 gold now on a Warbeast. He's already got a shrunk in with that Abyssal Skull, so it's,
I'm scared, though, for him if Silhouette decides to target him, that he's just going to get almost one-shotted with the level 3 shield breaker that's now up, I think. Soon, maybe. Ish. Because Warbeast only has 8 armor. I mean, 10.4 armor, so -8, that's 2 armor. He's going to be taking so much damage from the Relentless Salvo and just pretty much the auto attacks. It's going to be close to true damage. Especially if he's in range from what you got.
Yeah. You got the Aurora as well on top of that from Andromeda to assist. A little bit of minus armor. So, yeah, I was going to say, you know, well, the Soul's demonic, but obviously Pebbles has already got the Soul's Bulwark, so... Is this, you know, we talked a little bit about it yesterday. Is this an Ultor's game? Is that something that Warbeast thinks about, or? I
don't think Warbeast thinks about Ultors. I think Warbeast thinks about a Basher here.
Okay.
Get a little bit more HP, be able to lock down the Midas and the Parasite and whatever he wants to, if, you know, he activates his Bash.
Yeah, activates. That's how it works. Turns it on. Well, he's farming out the bottom lane, and again, being Teltec, no one's surprised. 4,500 gold saved up. Just a matter of time.
To be honest,
click something.
When playing Warbeast, I think I bash the most when getting the Basher. I just call it Basher, Brutalizer.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I think it's honestly just I don't know. There's something broken with the hero that he has like 10% more chance to bash.
It just feels that way, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, initiation here at the Conqueror pit area, actually. Andromeda going to be silenced right off the bat. She goes down. Parasite actually locked down, too, so a 2-for-0 start in favor of BMG right off the bat. The Silhouette Illusion off to the side there as Midas locks down Bubbles. He's in that take cover, though, despite the animation looking a little funky. Behemoth jumps in with a shockwave. Caught Doctor, and Doctor melts shortly after. Warbeast now trying to run with that shield breaker of Silhouette doing way too much damage. So the start was beautiful for BMG. The end, not so much. Complexity. What a chuck there by Pebbles and actually Portal Key away, but it might still not be enough in the end. He has that fissure. It's just a matter of lining it up. Well, that was a little off there from Oscar. However, it might not matter in the end. No, it won't. Pebbles is going to be cut. And he goes down. Hat-trick for Formless. They end up getting 4 in total. How did that start so well but finish so poorly?
It's just the initiation from Pebbles. It has such a long cooldown. And the second time that he used his Stalagmites was on that Midas, but he was using it defensively. And at the same time, Make just had to try and get away for his life because Fuzzy Sloth started with the Sheaf Stick onto him. And then he was really low on HP. He was able to, you know, kind of juke and jive away from most of the damage in the end with Take Cover, but he still had to get away because Silhouette would just tear through him.
Yeah, we saw once she came in. I mean, the damage was real for sure. That level 3 shield breaker again. Another 2,500 gold saved up right here, as we see. It's once again back to Complexity, feeling very comfortable here. In fact, it's getting there where it is their biggest lead of the game. Is now over 10,000 gold again, 14,000 experience lead. Shield breaker is going to be the answer for Warbeast, apparently. He actually even goes post-haste on top of that. So he's got the mentality of he's going to try to, you know, split push and backdoor here probably, figuring how behind they are. So we'll see. But without something like a puzzle box too, I don't know how this is actually, if this is going to really work out like they want it to.
Yeah, and I'm, to be honest, not too sure about the shield breaker. I would have liked for them to have something to lock down the Silhouette with, because that's the biggest threat at the moment. And the shield breaker pickup has, you know, put his threat level above any of his teammates. The Sheaf Stick from Midas and the tablet makes Midas really difficult to go on, and of course Elemental Warp, all of that stuff. So you don't really ever want to target the Midas, unless you can for sure burst him down with the Doctor, for example. But Teltec needs to concern himself with, I would say, the Silhouette. Because you saw just now, he can't man up on the Silhouette at all.
Yeah.
They can't trade, like, he can't trade hits with her. And Shieldbreaker is not going to help this, because Silhouette simply just does way too much damage and is way more mobile, even with the ultimate on.
Well, see again, that's what I think the logic though is that they're not even going to try for that. It's just simply they feel like perhaps that they're kind of behind, and this is the mentality of they need to try this backdoor, the split push now. So it's yeah. Well, what this does is it gives them like zero chance, and now team fights like that because yeah, what you're saying makes a lot of sense. But it at least gives them maybe a little bit of a shot for this whole split push. But even that's, you know, like I was even talking about without like a puzzle box or something like that, you know, how realistic is that truly?
Also, he doesn't have the demonic, so he's not able
That
to
too,
get
yeah.
the extra negative armor. Like
Yeah.
if he had demonic and shield breaker, then it would be like, then it would be split push demon type thing. But as you said, no puzzle box, and now he's going for shield breaker, which, you know, he still needs 1,300 gold to actually be able to max it,
Yeah.
and then only then does it affect towers.
Yeah. Very true. Very true. So, BMG, it's very tight spot to be in now, and you kind of wonder if complexity, you know, how they're going to pick up on that, and I assume at least, well, no, they did just kill Conqueror actually, so yeah, the 4 minutes on the token here, so gonna look to use that coming up. Silhouette's scouting around, seeing if he can find anybody on the jump, but no one's showing, so instead we'll just go to the creep wave and farm that out.
I would like him to go for a wing bow next. I think that's the correct play. Gives him a little bit more distance on his auto attacks and just makes him a lot stronger versus Warbeast too. Because of this, the shield breaker is not going to get a savage for quite a while.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and it's just also the buffing of the illusions too.
Yeah.
It's so
with all
good.
the stats.
Now with the geos that he already had, excuse me, that he already has. So, yep, gonna go in right here, sitting on 3,200 gold now. So, matter of time before he gets that next time, whatever it may be. Bubbles, he's gonna be dead right off the bat. Shrunken Head was used by Behemoth already. He's gonna go for the TP out. Meanwhile, the background Pebbles now jumps in, but at what cost for him? A Silhouette flies through and kind of forces him back. Bubbles does have a buyback. He's waiting patiently though for the right time, if at all necessary. Meanwhile, the top lane, you do see Warby stuff here. He is doing that split push. Again, only level 1 shield breaker, so not sieging too crazy, but does get the tower kill. Meanwhile, back to the bottom. Fight commencing once again. They get the pick onto Andromeda, and down goes Parasite as well, but Silhouette, she's still standing strong. Gets killed on Bubbles once again, who did buy back there, of course, and Pebbles will also fall. Bubbles does have his second and final buyback. Warbeast is going to get the melee racks up here, it may look like, or maybe not. Here comes Midas, and he's going to get the kill, actually, on a Warbeast and prevent the melee racks from going down. So, yeah, if he had a level 3 shield breaker, I mean, that's no doubt a dead melee racks right there, and well played, but without getting it, it definitely hurts them in the end.
But I mean, now look at Silhouette. He doesn't even care if Doctor jumps him because of the token. And Behemoth is waiting with the shockwave. So if Doctor even tries to jump in, there's a very big chance he's going to get insta-good. At least he gets the tower. Okay. But is this the jump?
Thought about it. Yeah, it's whether they know or they see Behemoth nearby is possible too. So, yeah, gonna fall back in here. Look at this. Warbeast buys back, ports up here, and he kills the melee racks actually. So Teltuk, he does somewhat accomplish what they were hoping for in the end. A trade it's not bad for them to have at this point of the game, but. Back to the middle, actually. Behemoth is going back in. Doctor looks like he did try to chase out a little bit, but he may survive this ultimately, as Bubbles not the same story. That was not a buyback. That was just simply him resurrecting,
and he
Silhouette
swaps out
swaps
as well.
out. Yep. He's going to be
Just
fine.
go. Oh, man. Formless is on fire. Really? That's just what it comes down to. He has 371 creep kills. And just looking at that, you compare it to Dr. Repulsor with 288 and Warbeast.
Yeah, he's up here trying to still escape this whole time, but they're not going to let him do that, so he goes down. Like I said, I mean, it's good that he got the melee racks at least. A trade when you're down like this is not bad, but him dying now again, using all those buybacks as they did, and the gold is just even further ahead now for complexity, so...
Yeah, it's suddenly jumped from, you know, a 6K lead to, okay, we're going to take two team fights, and we're up 20K.
Yep, it's Silhouette, that full wing bow now, as you mentioned. So I have that 3,000 cold on Behemoth, so he's going to have another tier item, maybe like that Restal Stone even, coming up
Oh,
in the future.
Aluna.
Aluna's going to get 3-shot. There's that as well. And look at this Rax. It's going to die. Nothing you can do, really. They are going to jump in, but again, it's obviously risky, and it's just a case of, well, they got to try something. Swap there on a Pebbles actually lands a nice Stalagmite, and it's going to be able to run away initially, and will be fine in the end, so get away there. But there goes the Melee Rex and the Range Rex middle, and now it's just the
And
top
they're-
lane.
Are they going to go for this, though? They did use Shrunkens on Midas.
Nope.
They're being very patient, and honestly, I think they can just go up and push, but, you know, better safe than sorry.
Yeah, in this case, and look at this again, though. Warby's going top with Bubbles. So, BMG even more so in a spot. But again, it's still a level 1 shield breaker. It's so unfortunate. It's like if you had at least a level 3 shield breaker, you'd be able to get those towers
Top
down
lane, though,
quicker.
Midas might be in trouble.
Okay, yeah, they're going to jump him, actually. There's a sheepstick response, though, and then the tablet away, as you mentioned. Is that a brutalizer? You know, it's hard for him to lock down and chase. He's going to pop the shotgun and run. Behemoth trying to maybe cut him off here with a fissure. Can't stun him,
I mean,
of course.
Silhouette can also just swap, and yeah, here we go.
There we go. There's the stun, and there's the kill. Double tap for Formless. Now I think if you're BMG, you might
Yeah.
throw it in the
That was
towel.
like a last-ditch effort, and it just failed.
Yeah. It is just game 1, but yeah, there you go. They know enough is enough. They tried, and it just wasn't going to work. So, yeah, I mean, whether or not that was the right decision, I mean, that was clearly what their logic was. Is like they were behind. They tried to make this whole backdoor split push happen, and it just wasn't going to happen. So, Complexity playing it too well, Silhouette playing too strong, and ultimately as a team, they deserve the victory. I think it's safe to say. So, but yeah, your final thoughts on that game there, Shortcon?
Just good draft, good execution.